Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about just the basics of vectors. Just to make you aware, you are going to need some sort of square paper. So I know a lot of maths books that people use have the little squares on it. If you don't have a maths book or your maths book doesn't have squares in it, if you just go online you can find squared paper. So I'm going to be using this for today. So if you don't have any, then I would definitely get some because it's very difficult to do it without. Just because I know some people may have never done vectors before, I've just written a little description at the top. So a vector is used to describe movements from one point to another. It's generally used for transformations, especially translation. So when you're doing translations of shapes, you'll have a vector and that will tell you how to move it. That's the same concept of what this is, okay? So they're both the same vector. We're just going to be going on to being able to draw them, but also work out what the vector is from the drawing. Okay, so we're not going to be dealing with any shapes, we're just going to be dealing with arrows. So I've just written here about the notation. So there are different types of notation. I will be using mainly this one today. And we do have one of these as well. This one's quite hard to do obviously because it's in bold, so when you have an exam paper they will have this one generally because it's in bold, but obviously it's very difficult by hand to be able to do bold. And then I've written down here, this is really important. So this is what it looks like. This is a column vector, so you've got the two numbers, the number at the top and the number at the bottom. I've just written here what they mean. So if the number on the top is positive, that means that you're going to be going to the right, and if it's negative you'll be going to the left. And then the bottom number is up or down, so if it's positive you'll go up, and if it's negative you'll go down. So that one's quite easy. Okay, so they're just the basics, and we're going to be using this sort of information to be able to do the questions that you're going to see in a moment. Okay, I'm going to show you this first and then I'm going to switch. So we're just going to focus on EG1 first. So we need to see what these diagrams are as column vectors, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch over. Okay, so this is my square paper. We've got these 4 questions here. Okay, I've used different notations. So this is the one with the little line in. That's what I was talking about before. And then we are going to do the one with the arrow on the top as well. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Now the arrow, which direction is going, is really important. So because you've got the arrow going in that direction, it means you've got to start here and then go to this other point here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is see how I would get from this point on the left to this point here at the end. Okay, so we're going 1, 2, 3 to the right. Okay. And then from here we're going 1 up. Okay, so then to write that as a vector, okay, that means that it's going to be a 3 on the top. Okay, so the top number is always left or right, and because we're going to the right, it means it's going to be a positive 3. And then we're going 1 up, so that will be just 1 on the bottom. Okay, and it's positive because we're going up, we're not going down. Okay, next one. So this time the arrow's pointing in this direction. So this means that we need to start at this point here and then travel to that point there. Okay, so we're going to go down by 2. Okay, and then we'd go across to the right by 2. Okay, so then we've got to write it as a vector. Okay, so when we do this notation here, make sure you've got the line underneath, that's really important. So the top number is always left or right, so we've gone right to 2 places, that means it's going to be a positive 2 on the top. Okay, and we've gone 2 down here, so down is negative, so it's going to be negative 2 there. Okay, so the next one, this one's going to have slightly different notation, but essentially it means the same thing. So we are going from A to B. Okay, so we're going from this one down to here. Now we don't need to go left or right at all. Okay, we just need to go down, and we're going down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. Okay, so as a vector, if it's not going left or right, then it's just going to be 0. It just means it hasn't moved anywhere left or right. Okay, and then it's gone down by 4, so that's going to be -4. Okay, and then the last one, we've got this one, so the arrow is pointing in that direction, so we're going to be starting up here. Okay, so to get to there we need to go 2 to the left, and then we've got to go 3 down. Okay, so as a vector, remember the top one is left or right, so we've gone 2 to the left. Left is negative, so it's going to be -2. Okay, and then we've gone down by 3, so that's going to be -3. Okay, I'm just going to move this down a little bit so it means you can see the question as well as I'll be able to draw on it. Okay, so example 2, we need to draw the following vectors on here. Okay, and we'll do it in a black pen just so you can see it a little bit clearer. When you do this, so you've obviously got the first one. We know that A is 2 and 4. I'll explain what this means in a moment, but some of you might be able to work it out anyway. Okay, so the first one, it doesn't actually matter where you start it. I'm going to just start here. Now the reason why I've started here and not gone a little bit further is I've looked at this top number and it's +2. So because it's positive, I know that I'm going to go 2 to the right. So that means I know I need space on this side, not this side of the dot. Okay, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes in a test they might have it ready drawn, but for now you can just pick. So this is where we're going to start. So as I said, we're going 2 to the right, 1, 2. Then we're going 4 up because 4 is positive. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm finishing there. And then I'm just going to draw an arrow going in that direction. Okay, and then we're going to label it. Okay, so A with a little line underneath. Okay, so 2A. Now this 2 in front of the A we call a scalar, which means it's just a number that we multiply the vector by. Okay, so I'm going to do it under here. Actually, I'll do it on there. So we know that A is 2 and 4. So all we do is multiply the 2 and the 4 by the 2 scalar. Okay, so that's going to become 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so again, I pick a point on here. Now I know it's going to go quite high up because of the 8, so I'm going to start quite low down. So we're going 4 across to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going 8 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's where I'm finishing. And then draw an arrow going in that direction. Okay, and then I'm going to call that 2A. Okay, so the little line only goes under the A, it doesn't go under the 2. Okay, so the next one, we've got this B now. So we've got -1 and 3. So again, pick a starting point. Okay, so I'm going to start there. The -1 at the top means that I'm going 1 to the left. And then the 3 on the bottom means I'm going 3 up. So 1, 2, 3. So I will be finishing there. And then again, draw a line and then an arrow. And then we'll call that B. Okay. Then finally for D, very similar to this one. Now if you've just got a negative sign in front of it, that's the same as just either multiplying that by -1, or you can just change the signs, okay? So I'm going to do the proper way. I'm going to multiply it by -1. If I can fit it in. So we're going to do -1 multiplied by -1. So the two negatives, when you multiply them together, would give you +1. Then -1 multiplied by +3 would give you -3. Okay, again, we then pick a point. Now, I know it's going to go 3 down, so this time I'm going to make the point a little bit higher up. Okay, so I'm starting here. I need to go 1 to the right because it's positive, and then I'm going to go 3 down. 1, 2, 3. And then the arrow goes in that direction. Make sure you do it in the correct direction, so it's always the arrow's pointing at the point that you get to at the end. Okay, now if you look at these, they are going in the same direction. The only difference is this one the arrow is going upwards, and this one the arrow is going downwards. Okay.